Hey everyone, thanks for your support in 2024. We have a lot of cool stuff coming in 2025, and here are some of the things you can look forward to as we move into next year. In the lead up to The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2026, we'll be starting a full series rewatch of both The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett on exploring hyperspace lanes beginning in October. You can also expect a rewatch of Andor, and we will have reviews of every episode of Andor and the rest of the Skeleton Crew as those come out. Josie will be returning as we continue to rank every Star Wars thing released ever. Reviews of every episode of every Marvel Disney Plus show, including Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, The Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, and Marvel Zombies, the day after each episode releases, will be available on Beware of Spoilers. We'll be having special event podcasts on 30-minute reviews for the Academy Awards, our 2024 year in review in early January, ranking all of Phase 5 of the MCU after Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, and our 10th anniversary special. Once we complete our rankings of all the Pokemon games on the backlog files, we'll be moving on to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. Over on the YouTube channel, you can join in for playthroughs of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Pokemon White, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, Sonic Adventure 2, LEGO Racers 2, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Want to keep on top of all the new things we have coming? Subscribe at mwpnews.com, subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/@mwpnews, or subscribe to Beware of Spoilers, 30-minute reviews, exploring hyperspace lanes, and the backlog files on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, thank you for your support. Good evening and welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. Now, I delayed this by a day because I reached out to the Screen Actors Guild with the intent that I wanted to get clarification about something before I go out there and just start speculating about nonsense. Now, they never returned my email, and really it's not a question of anything like that. We'll get to it. So news broke last week on Friday that Let's just go with this. If you've been on YouTube at any point recently, and some of you may be listening to this on YouTube, if you've been on YouTube at any point in the last few months, years, whatever, there are a growing number of fake trailers. Trailers that are kind of this composite of like AI-generated video, and then also like, fan art and all that stuff designed to generate clicks. And it's using fake copyrighted material to generate income, because what it is these people are making these AI generated trailers, people are clicking on them and watching them, and there's ad revenue involved. So I mean, clearly that's the business model for anyone who's a creator on YouTube. And the point of all of this is that these videos that have been going on forever never really get copyright struck. Which is one of the things, like, that's a little weird. Like, why is it, like, you have this video that has got millions of views, and it's got, like, this fake costume for Spider-Man, and like, oh, like, here is a fake video of, with, what's his name? Like, let's say, like, Tom Holland in, like, a fake trailer for, with him in a Future Foundation Spider-Man suit or something like that. And then the question is like, well, okay, cool. So like these trailers exist. Why are they just kind of allowed to be up? And I think it was Deadline was the company, was the organization that had this big story. It turns out the studios have been taking money from these people behind the under the table. The studios have been getting paid off and taking a profit share of this to pay themselves. And this is AI-generated content. And the reason why I waited is because I was like, I seem to recall something about affirmative consent for AI in the new Screen Actors Guild contract. That was, the big contested thing a few years back. The big contested part of the contract was that whether or not the studios could use an actor's likeness without their consent. And that was a big part of this. And now here we have it where the studios are profiting off of this. The studios are out there, paying for, or not paying, they're getting paid, they're getting paid a profit share of AI-generated content using the likenesses of Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Holland, Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, these fake Marvel trailers use the cast of all of these movies. The fake Superman trailer uses the cast of Superman. Like, and I believe, if I remember correctly, and I don't want to be completely wrong, but I believe it was Universal, I believe it was Paramount, and I believe it was, I forgot what the other one was, where it's like they're making these fan trailers, and it's like, okay, you own the IP, you own the underlying IP, yes, but like if it's a fan trailer where it's like, oh, we're gonna do a fan cast of whoever in this role, like, you do not own that actor's likeness. And the other thing is, you do not own you do not own the ability to create and license this content. Like, you are doing that, and unless the actors are in on it, that are you in violation of the Screen Actors Guild contract? And I think that this is something that I kind of wanted to address, and I didn't see this being made into as big of a deal as it is. It's like, it's weird. Like, and the thing is too, it's like there's a conversation to be had about these trailers, whether or not they should exist at all. I'm firmly of the camp that these trailers don't serve any real purpose. Like, they're fan creations, but all, like, yeah, there are fan creations for fan concept trailers and stuff like that, and these predate AI. These have been, done well before AI. The issue I have is, why are we kind of just cool with the fact that they're being presented as trailers? Like, everything about these videos have the trappings of this is a video created to market a movie. And if you're someone who doesn't know the status of a movie in production, like if you go up and you're like, Avengers Doomsday trailer, if you don't know that Avengers Doomsday is, started production last week and they don't have a trailer with finished CGI or, anything like that, then you're going to click on that and they're going to get money off of a lie. And I think fundamentally that is kind of an issue that should be addressed with this. The idea that you are, on top of the name, image, and likeness issue, which is a profound issue. And I think SAG should take steps to investigate this as a breach of contract. But if that's the case, that, these people are creating these things literally designed to deceive and to make money off of people who don't understand, I feel like YouTube shouldn't allow this type of content. I think that there should be YouTube should definitely go in and be like, intentionally deceptive content is banned. And I realize that in the grand scheme of things, this is not important. Like, a fake trailer for Avengers Doomsday is not important. A fake trailer for a Harry Potter reboot or a Harry Potter sequel series is not important. And I don't think that we should be looking at this as something where we have to, like, this is priority one right now. I don't think so. But I think that this speaks to a wider issue. In an era of AI-generated content, we can't trust that people are going to self-flag. Because that's the thing, is that it's like, what's it called? I don't think we should trust people to self-regulate this. The idea that, like, when I put up a video on YouTube, and today we put up a post on the website, mwpnews.com, we're going to be starting next week launching the next in the Pokemon series. Whenever I upload a video to YouTube, there's a little checkbox that says, like, no generative AI was used in the making of this thing. So that way you can flag it. And it's the same thing on KDP, where it's like there's a little box you got to check that says, like, hey, we did not use generative AI to make this book or this cover or any part of this book. No part of the book was created with generative AI. To an extent, we have to sit here and look at this and be like, do we trust that these people who are making this are going to check that box? No. And then the question is, like, how do you moderate this? Because there's so much content going up on YouTube every day. Like, do you need to have someone sit there and watch it? Do we have to use AI to check for AI? Like, is that the level of stupidity we're at now? It's like that episode of South Park with the drones, where it's like they have the drone, people are using the drones to spy in people's windows, and then it's like at the same time, you know, the police start deploying drones to keep an eye on the other drones, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, is that where we are with this? Like, it's such a bizarre situation that, like, yes, there are bigger issues with people creating fake AI-generated content. We saw it in the last election cycle, where people were creating, you know, AI-generated content accusing, like, Kamala Harris of you know, hitting someone with a car or some shit like that. Like, and it was entirely fabricated, entirely untrue, but it was being posted on X and being amplified to millions upon millions of people. Like, if we're looking at there is an existential threat to AI. And I think the existential threat is not just in the jobs that'll be lost or anything like that. It is the idea that, like, there's no boundary to what can be created with AI. And it's this issue of, like, what's real versus what's not real. And where do we stand on that? How do we exist in this space where that happens? And then the question is, too, it's like, is the Screen Actors Guild now in a position to make a claim? Is the Screen Actors Guild now in a position to make a claim and be like, no, you violated the terms of our contract? Like, and if so, are there sanctions? I'm not sure. I emailed and asked, and they didn't answer me. I mean, granted, it's only, like, I emailed, like, Monday at, like, 2 in the morning, and it's now Tuesday at, like, just after 5. And granted, I understand there's probably a lot of people with similar questions. But, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think that, I don't think that the issue at hand here is quite done. I think this is something that people should be making a bigger deal about, because if the studios are partnering behind the scenes, and that's the other thing too, is that it's like, Max Landis started this conspiracy theory years ago that Disney was paying critics to give better reviews for their movies and give worse reviews for movies that are not created by Disney. And it was a completely unsubstantiated rumor that was completely untrue. But we're at a point now where the studios are taking money and allowing their copyright to be used in a dubious way for money. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, so if they are doing that, this is how you end up in these situations that people start to trust less. And then the question is, like, well, where do we go next? Like, what is the next step here? If they are in communication with content creators over this stuff, what else are they in communication with content creators over? And we know from a piece earlier, or late last year, that, like, YouTube takes, not YouTube, the studios do take content creators and influencers very seriously. More so than critics, where it's like, when you look at who shows up for these early screenings, every early screening, you get, like, overwhelmingly positive results from. Everyone who walks out of an early screening for a movie acts like it's the single greatest movie in the history of humanity. Every single one of them is like, oh my god, this is going to change everything, this is perfect. And then you see it and it's like, it's perfectly fine. Or it's just like, it's not great. Like, the vast majority of movies that come out occupy that space. Very rarely do you get a movie on either end of the spectrum. But the idea is you get the influencers in who are in on it and are really into it, and then they're going to be like, oh shit, that's great. Like, this is great, you have to go see it, and then they're going to get their followers to go see it, and that's going to do it. Critics are designed, I mean, if a critic is following traditional journalistic standards, which, on this show we do, and I would say to anyone listening, you should strive to find people who adhere to these standards. I'm not saying that just to pat myself on the back, but we do, even when Peter is on and when Josie is on, we do maintain the same rules of kind of attempting to maintain accuracy, correcting ourselves if we get information wrong, that kind of thing. And it's just a small amount of integrity in what we do here. It is not, it's not the same thing as someone who's just up there making stuff up. And I think that to an extent we have to try to differentiate the two. And I think this situation makes the whole thing worse. It makes the whole thing worse. It's like, oh, so they're willing to let their own IP be used in this way. And then it raises a whole host of other questions where it's like, okay, so you're fine with taking money for these fake trailers. You're fine with that. You're totally fine taking money with these fake trailers. But you're copyright striking people for other things. Why is this okay? Oh, a lot of money's coming in on this, and you can get a little bit of it. Oh, that's why you're okay with this. But you're not okay with what's it called? You're not okay with them putting, people using a little bit of the music in their stuff. Or people showing clips of movies or something like that. It's we don't do that on YouTube, but this is the difference here, is that you're willing to approve some of it but not others. And it's well, what's the line? Oh, they're paying you off to not copyright strike. Oh, that's the difference. Okay, I get it. It doesn't feel right by any sense of the word. It feels like you're, it fundamentally shifts the paradigm of YouTube in a way that I don't think I and a lot of other people, I mean, realistically, no one should be comfortable with this. No one who is watching, who saw this story or is hearing this now, should be comfortable with any of this. This is all dangerous precedent. This is all things that are not great situations to have to, it's one of those things that's I saw this story break on Friday and I was like, oh shit, that's really bad. And then it kind of got brushed under the rug. And look, to an extent, we do have a kind of, we do have way more serious issues at hand right now, and I am not dismissing those. I mean, we are in a very tumultuous time on a bunch of fronts, but with it, and I've said it before, this show is the guy on the Titanic who is, as the ship's going down, we're sitting there, we're playing the violins, and I've said that has been the role of this show forever. That said, we do still need to put a check on the businesses of entertainment. And if we allow this to go unchallenged and we allow this to kind of fester, it's going to be bad for everyone. I don't think that we are looking at, I think that if it's just this is weird and then YouTube demonetizes them, that's not a good outcome here. That is not that's not how you end this situation. This situation needs to end, a lot more forcefully. And I think that the Screen Actors Guild, unless they were getting paid, and either way, the Screen Actors Guild should be transparent on this. If the Screen Actors Guild knew about this and was getting payment for the talent involved, then okay, I'm a little bit less, it's still icky to me, but it's a little bit less icky. But this whole situation, like, if this is how we're gonna be, the Screen Actors Guild needs to step in. That's the role of a union. The union is there to protect its members. And if it's not going to protect its members, then what's the point of the union? What are we here for? But we'll wrap up there for today. That's all I got on this. I mean, this is such a profoundly weird situation. I very much hope that they can get this resolved and resolved in a way that protects the actors from having their likeness used like this without their consent. And that's a big part of it is the question of consent with AI. But we'll see what happens. We'll wrap up there for today. Until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.